Okay, there is really very little that I need to actually teach you about the last unit, Unit 9. Unit 9 is abnormal concerns, abnormal loads. Um, it's not a very long unit. It's not a particularly difficult unit. Uh, I don't normally assess it intensively um, in the exam. So, for all intents and purposes, we have finished all the work that we needed to do for the semester. Your face-to-face tests are being marked. Those results will be out uh, hopefully before the end of the week. Your assignments have been marked. There's a quiz. There's still some quizzes coming up. I need to just check. This coming Saturday, quiz 3. So there's your third quiz is this coming Saturday morning, and then the week afterwards there is another quiz, quiz 4. Uh, I have told you that I will, for the purpose of your semester mark, give you 3 quizzes. I will take the best 2 quizzes, the best 3 out of 4. Then I will give you a makeup test. But now listen carefully to me, people. Listen very carefully. The makeup test will be online. You will be writing your makeup test online. As soon as I have the results for the first face-to-face test, I will inform you of a date for the online test. Now, if I say online test, I don't mean a quiz. Just spoken, there are still some quizzes left that are multiple choice. The online test is not a quiz. It is a test with the same format as your face-to-face test, except that it's open book, obviously, because you're at home and you are, but everything, you have to type your answers. They will be in the makeup test, there is no multiple choice, no true or false. You have to literally type all your answers. And do not for one moment think that, oh, now we're going to get such good marks because it's online. We're going to cheat. If I see a single, I've done this, I do this every year. And traditionally, students do worse in the online test than in the face-to-face test. Because if I see a single indication of you cheating, of you having used any source other than the study guide and the act and the regulations, I do not hesitate to give you 0. As simple as that. So don't think the fact that it's going to be online is an opportunity to now suddenly improve your semester mark. Having said that, we need to look at abnormal loads. I have a slideshow, but I'm not going to upload my slideshow. What I am going to do, just give me a moment. To share screen quickly. Okay, just confirm to me that you can see the screen. It is literally just a blank white page that I will be typing on. But can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Um, reason why I'm doing it this way is because this slideshow that I have prepared and the slideshow, the PowerPoint slides, are available on e-learning. So you can download them from there, but they are actually um, too detailed for our purposes. There's a lot of stuff in there that you don't need to study. So the last unit deals with abnormal vehicles or loads. Why do I say abnormal vehicles or loads? Because sometimes it's the vehicle itself which is abnormal. Sometimes the vehicle itself would be normal if it's not loaded, but the moment it becomes loaded, um, it becomes regarded as abnormal. So, what is an abnormal load or an abnormal vehicle? A vehicle or load that exceeds the maximum permitted dimensions. The Road Traffic and Transportation Act lays down the maximum dimensions that vehicles traveling on public roads may have. And there's quite a lot of them. The overall length, the overall width, overall height, turning radius and wheelbase, projections, that stuff that sticks over the side. Um, so for all of these instances, in quite some detail, the Road Traffic and Transportation Act provides the maximum dimensions, the biggest size that these vehicles may be. The moment it is bigger than the size, it becomes an abnormal vehicle. In order to safely, or not just safely, in order to transport drive with abnormal vehicles or transport abnormal loads on public roads, um, it requires an abnormal load permit, which you get at the Roads Authority. There's in the notes um, on page 64, 63 and 64. I've given you examples of the application forms that need to be completed. Requires quite a lot of detail, a sketch of the vehicle, um, the total load, etc., as well as details of the route that you're going to travel. Quite a lot of information you need to provide to the roads authority that will then consider the application and provide you with a permit. Get different types of permits, a trip permit, a week permit, permit that's valid for a month, or then a year permit, a permit which is valid for a year. If it's a trip permit, it will be for a specified number of days calculated on approximately how long that particular trip with this particular load will take. For a week permit, a month permit, or a year permit, that is then valid for that period of time, and you can travel any given distance during that particular time. These period permits, week permits, month permits, and year permits are issued in instances where the abnormality is relatively small. For example, the most obvious example is a motor vehicle carrier. Sure, you've all seen that. They bring new motor vehicles that were manufactured in South Africa. They bring them to Namibia. It's like a double-decker vehicle with lots of new vehicles loaded on it. These motor vehicle carriers, when they are fully loaded, they are regarded as abnormal because they exceed the maximum height of a vehicle. They do not, however, exceed the maximum width or the maximum length. So the reason, obviously, let's just go back for a moment. The reason why must they have permits if they exceed these maximum dimensions? Obviously for safety and the protection. For safety and protection of the infrastructure. The operator also pays for the abnormal permit. The amount they paid is calculated on the estimated dimensions of this vehicle. The engineers calculate this. That money is then used for the subsequent restoration of the infrastructure. So a week permit, a month permit, or a year permit will be issued in instances where these are minor abnormalities. So like a motor vehicle carrier, which is just a lot higher than the permitted height, but it's no wider and it's no longer. So if you're traveling and you end up behind one of these things, you can still relatively safely overtake. Something, however, like this load, which is currently traveling, which is all over the news, the 30-meter, 35-meter long cooling, whatever it is that's being transported to Zambia, which is so incredibly long and travels at such a slow speed because of its incredible length and also its weight. Those type of things you transport only once. A motor vehicle carrier, they travel from South Africa to Namibia to and fro, to and fro, to and fro, the whole time with new cars and old cars. So there you don't need to apply for a permit for every single trip. Something like that, like this new load that is now traveling, they're only going to go to Zambia once. So that obviously will be a trip permit for their particular trip. Please be careful. common mistake. I even saw that now when I was marking your assignments. You tend to have or students have a tendency to confuse the transportation of dangerous goods and the transportation of abnormal goods. These are two different aspects of the work. There was a question about the abnormal load, whether a particular load was an abnormal load or not, and which steps had to be taken in order to legally transport this load. Correct answer there was apply for a permit at the roads authority. You must include the necessary details, and then you pay the necessary fee. And I had quite a number of students there who told me things about the driver must be trained and it must be placarded and that type of thing. No, 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 no. That was not dangerous goods that was being transported. This was an abnormal load. So do not confuse dangerous goods and abnormal loads. Then in the notes in the last unit, unit 9, I give you the maximum dimensions, maximum height, maximum width, maximum length, etc., etc. You do not have to memorize. You do not have to memorize those maximum dimensions. Should you need them for the purpose of an assessment, I will include them as an annexure to your test. So that is basically why there is very little to teach you in this unit. Given you the dimensions, do look at them, but you don't need to memorize them. Just to clarify, because there seems to have been, for some students, a bit of confusion about what the dimensions actually mean. The length of the vehicle is measured from the front So how long is the vehicle measured from the front to the back? That is the length of the vehicle. The width of the vehicle is measured from side to side. And then the height is measured from the road to the top of the vehicle. You might think, why am I explaining this? This is just English. There were students in the assignment that got that wrong, that confused length, width, and height. So just be careful there. Length is from front to back, width is from side to side, and height is from the road to the top of the vehicle. Okay, that is literally all I have to still teach you. Are there any questions?
Yes, Miss, I do have a question.
Yes, Mr. Johannes.
You said we are confused of transporting dangerous goods and abnormal goods. When I'm going to transport dangerous goods, I have to apply for a permit and then I have to pay certain fee. Does that apply to abnormal goods also?
No, dangerous goods, nowhere in the regulations does it state that you need a separate permit to transport dangerous goods. It says you need to comply with the regulations. The regulations doesn't say you need a permit. It says you need your driver must be trained. You must have your placards, those signs on the side, There are rules about the packaging of goods, how they must be packaged, etc., etc., etc. But nobody has ever said you need a permit to transport dangerous goods. You need a permit to transport abnormal loads. These big, heavy things that damage the roads, you have to pay to make up for the potential damage to the roads.
Okay, Miss. Now I
So
got
that's
it.
yeah, that's where the first confusion has already come in. So thank you for asking so that I can now clarify it. Abnormal loads are these big things. Dangerous goods is like a petrol tanker that can burst into flames if it crashes. So abnormal loads, because they are heavy and big, they can potentially damage the infrastructure, which means you need a permit to be able to transport them on our public roads. The money that you pay for the permit is literally goes towards the maintenance of the roads, restoring the damage that you caused. But driving a fuel tanker, delivering fuel to the Puma garages, whatever, doesn't damage the infrastructure. So permits are for abnormal loads, not for dangerous goods. Okay, more questions? Okay, so this is going to be our last formal lecture, but I will inform you of the date and time. I will have a revision class closer to the end of the semester, where I will go through the layout of the exam and give you specific guidance as to examination preparation. But for now, this will be our last formal lecture then. Thank you so much for your dedication during the semester, and I hope the results are very, very pleasing. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Miss.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Bye.